into their psychedelic thing. And I went to some concerts, and I saw the Grateful Dead, and I saw the the Who, and I knew the Big Brother and the Holding Company when they were acoustic. And I'm so grateful because beatniks, which is what I was before that, were into sort of caffeine and bitterness, and black clothes and drag ass down poetry, like that. And so I love the hippies, man. They were so bright and so beautiful, so brave. And they still are. They're older, their hair's coming out, and they're gaining weight and all that, but they are just gorgeous, the classical hippies. But I have a huge definition of hippies because it goes back in time to the students of Socrates. And it goes in a spread on one side from radical lesbians to the other like Hell's Angels, I wanted to take some questions. I know in any group this size, it's that thing where there's some people who have barely heard of me, and there's other people who know things about me my mother doesn't know. So take some questions from folks there. I see a lot of familiar faces and old friends and stuff. Yes. I'm having a lovely time in Amsterdam. I'm getting off repeatedly and seriously.
A lot of people ask me what the farm's like now.
People ask what the farm's like now. How many people here know about the farm? Yeah, this is about a good half. Okay. So when we left San Francisco, when it started getting kind of decadent into the 60s, we went out and we got 1,000 acres in Tennessee. And we've been there, and we bought more land and bought more land, and now we own 4.2 square miles of oak trees in Tennessee that we're saving from being cut. And at one time we had 1,500 people living there, and we have been the sort of founders and champions of soybeans and tofu and midwifery, heavy in the anti-nuclear movement. We had a band called the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and we sued the other Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and then we made letterheads, and our eagle was holding like a flying wedge guitar in one hand and drumsticks in the other, and the wreath was reefer, But ours was better than theirs, and the government lawyers would come to our lawyer and beg T-shirts because it was hip to be wearing our T-shirt. And that's when we took it to the Supreme Court. And we really ragged them out because it was a complete media blitz. And like we sent each justice a huge 10-pound package of all of our books and records and promo and farm reports and all that kind of stuff, just the whole thing. And it was instructive because we got back 4 unopened. And we got back 1 opened. And they kept 4. So we thought that was probably like an interesting look into the court at that time. That there was 5 would even consider it. And so we did all that kind of stuff. And then we went through financial changes around the 80s, like when the Republicans took over and threw the scares into everybody. It worked on us too. And a lot of folks, I would say, lost faith in collectivity. And we also had some, we were making a lot of money, but we were doing a $2.5 million a year budget, but we weren't building any new houses. And so we said, okay, we're going to change the system around. So we changed the system around. We changed from being a collective, which was originally you could live there indefinitely with no money in your pocket. Changed it to like a collective, and everybody has their own job and checkbook and pays in some dues, And we continue onward as a collective, and we continue to do our projects and works and stuff, and our anti-nuclear lawyer still fights them, and the midwives have become world famous. My wife has just installed a couple of weeks ago as president of the American Midwives Association, Midwives Alliance of North America. And like so many of our beliefs, midwifery, for instance, has gone from brown rice to gourmet. And that's how a lot of our stuff is. Our environmental stuff that started off as being kooky tree huggers is now the substance of what great governments talk about and fight about and bribe each other with millions of dollars about. And so the farm is like, there's about 250 of us there now. And last year they broke our kids up in the soccer league. They broke our kids up into only 2 or 3 of our kids and all of the other town's teams, because they said our kids were too good, and if we put them all in one team, they'd just beat everybody. You know, our children, our you know, whatever happened to their genetics, that's them. And we were our own team once, and we had tie-dye jerseys, all the same pattern with numbers on them and stuff, you know.
Being the great advocate that you are for vegetarianism and the big strides that products like Hempseedville.
A couple of people are thinking about that kind of thing. A couple of people are opening negotiations with various, you know, hemp cloth bolt suppliers and stuff.
Is there a doctor here in the house?
We have. You all right? Somebody faint? Yeah. You got somebody there, paramedic or something? Okay.
I was 100 completely inspired by the farm. Did you see this? There's a complete resurgence going on, kind of a new revitalization, at least I see. Did you see that coming, or did it surprise you as much as it did me?
No, I'm not surprised about the hippie renaissance we're having now. Back 3 or 4 years ago, he says he's part of a group up in Seattle called the Peace Heathens and part of that whole Seattle scene and stuff. And he said that he was surprised at the sudden hippie renaissance that happened in that city. And I said I'd been feeling that somebody was buying hippie stock back up in the astral plane for a while, you know. You could tell, you know. And more serious necktie people were coming out that they'd smoked pot, you know. And just recently, there's been several interesting things. You know, they'd almost get
was given by other people, some of which I am bringing in, or I brought in myself from other countries. Anyway, the seeds I'm selling, or basically some coffee shops are selling my seeds for me. I don't have a store or something on my own. Shit, I lost track of my story. Sorry. Sprouting some of those seeds I made of this certain cross, and what I do is I preserve the female plant, I preserve the male plant, and I keep them alive. And anytime I make seeds, those are from the same mother and the same male plant all the time. It's only the batch is produced at a certain time, like November '95. That's that particular batch. I'm testing it all the time to see if they're still viable, if they're still sprouting okay. If not, I throw the whole batch away and a new batch has to come in, you know?
Yeah, I understand, Hank. It is true that, you know, there are just a few people, I think, I reckon, myself too, they, about how much time ago, 15 years, 17 years, I don't know, 20 years, some Americans came out of America, they came in Holland, and they brought some beautiful plants like the skunk number 1. I myself, I brought seeds from Afghanistan, Kashmir, Morocco, Lebanon, and and that kind of places. And it happens to me that I fell into the seed bank with Neville Shoemaker. You probably heard about him. This guy, he worked very hard, as well as some other, I can't mention those people, but some people here in Amsterdam, they did a big job on it. What happens was they all were under the table. You couldn't see them, you couldn't reach them because they were growing and smoking. And they couldn't sell it. It was just hobbyists, as you call it. And on a certain moment, 10 years ago, I decided to go on the market. We should open a shop. And we did. Since then, there's a big change. You know, even in those days, like Rob told us just now, nader wheat, as we call it, the Dutch grass, was terrible. You know, nobody wanted to smoke it, and it took years and years. And just recently, for the last 7, 8 years, it's really coming out, and now particularly. So, in the meantime, we have a lot of people. You know, Hank was also one of the guys working with us, and he's already, I think, number 3 or number 4. Starting his own seed shop, and I like it. It brings new, fresh blood in the house. You know, it's okay. But also you find the difference. Like when we started one shop 10 years ago, and we had 2 shops, 3 shops. On a certain moment, on this moment, I think we got about 100 calling themselves seed shop. And like what you hear from Rob, is a lot of bullshit. So of course, you know, you just take some seeds, put them in a bag, and give them a name, and sell seeds. So. Be careful, you know, if you spend your money, spend it right, and no problem experimenting because there's quite some new, fresh blood around. Sensi Seed Bank had a big problem this year. We had, in the first place, problems with the weather. It was very hot. We worked in greenhouses and things like that. And for the first time in 9 years, we had a big bust from the police. That's one of the reasons why you won't find, for example, Jack Herer. We have the seeds though in the company, but the main draws, the things like people who like to see it and judge it and smoke it, I'm afraid we won't win any prize this year because I can say about 80% of our stuff was busted and confiscated. So that was also bad news. Maybe Mr. Hemp was involved, I'm not sure. But anyway, be careful and don't risk your ass for something you already got. And if you do something, be careful, right?
Be reliable, or which you can rely on. Because some companies, for instance, I mean, everybody knows the name Sensi Seed is carrying. Another company, some obscure one, may just carry the same name. You know, just start making his own seed and call it Shiva's Skunk or something. That's happening all the time. So don't look particularly at the names and trust that names are protected by law even, but sometimes it's difficult to just weed them out of the field, you know what I mean? They just start selling the seed under the same name, some other company is selling it under. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily the same thing.
Just one final question. I'm speaking with Paul Kowalczyk from the Protein Oil Starch people at the University of South Canada. He was telling us about hemp and flax root systems, lactose heavy metals from soils.
Yeah, there's been a really in-depth study of using hemp to clean up downwind smelter residues, copper smelters, I believe, and it's in Poland where this has been done. And the one people to get in touch with there is the Natural Fiber Institute. Just to get back on track. I think we owe that to the sisterhood. The doors will open at 8 o'clock, and we want people to come in at 8 and sit on the floor and hold a silent meditation for 1 hour. And the people that do show up at 8 and go in and sit quietly and help us get a focused meditation going are probably going to be the ones that are going to be most noticed when they have time to distribute the offerings. So I encourage people that do have a spiritual connection with this plant to come at 8 o'clock and be serious about it and keep the silence in that room. And a lot of people told me there wouldn't be a silence in the room because everybody would be yakety-yakking, and I think they're wrong. I think most people here have a very powerful feeling about this plant and they want to show it. So let's see what happens. Okay. Are there any questions about the Cannabis Cup? Anybody have anything they want to ask me? They were coming, and they have to wait. But hopefully they'll all get in to the award ceremony on Sunday. The Milk Fake's got 2 big rooms, both the same size. One of them's the Cathedral, and one of them's Hemp Hall. Hemp Hall is where the alcohol is. You want to go party, go over there. There'll be rock and roll bands, reggae bands. And the Cathedral is where we're going to do our ceremonies. So I think, you know, there's room for all of us at this party. You go back and forth at will, whatever you want to do. Try the Seed Company strains. We all get to try them too. And like last year, Jack Herrera was entered as a seed company in the seed company competition, and it was also distributed at council like we're going to do tonight, and it won the Cannabis Cup, even though very little of it went out. It was amazing. You know, anybody from around the world can come to this council, as far as I'm concerned, and the amount is not important. It's the feeling in the heart. It's an offering. It's, you know, this is our community, and we want to create more of a ceremony around our use with this plant. Take it more serious. The funny thing about cannabis is, the more you use, the less you get out of it. I mean, if you're gonna, you know, if you don't have a medical reason, and you're gonna wake up and just smoke all day long, you're not gonna experience the effects that somebody gets who waits until 4:20 and sits down and watches the sunset and smokes his first joint of the day. I just don't believe you're gonna get that feeling. So we have to, you know, get more responsible with our attitude. The attitude isn't let's just get as stoned as we can all the time. The attitude is let's get the maximum delivery out of this medicine that we can get. And let's respect it. And then people will respect us. We got the High Priest and the High Priestess, so we're going to do the ceremony, and then this mic will be open. Anybody who wants to talk can come up here and talk just one at a time. And if people have ideas about the contest, or if they found a strain already that they think should win, then now is the time to talk about it. So I'm going to, without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Fantuzzi and Felicia, the High Priest and High Priestess of the Cannabis Cup.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and forever shall be. We're going to be stirring up the vibes because that's our responsibility. So with a little help from my friends, if I could just have you take a deep breath in and let out an ah. Again, a deep breath in. Ah. One more. Ah. Yes.
Chant comes from the earth. I want to sing a chant for you. Since the herb comes from the earth mother, we plant the seed. Father's sun shines on her and she glows. She comes from the earth, from the goddess. It's the balance of male and female energy. It can't be done alone. That's not just the male, the plant is female. So let's sing a chant for the earth. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heart beating. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heart beating. Hey, 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 ho.
In India, the sadhus hold the sacred herb ganja as a very important part of their ceremony. In Jamaica, the Rastas use ganja for a very important part of their ceremony. And now, we use ganja for a very special part of our ceremony. So a chant came to me and it's ringing in my head. So here we go. Does anybody have a drum or something like that, a rattle? There's a rattle. Since we don't have any, you can stamp on your feet or Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. And they're vibrating out into this planet and out into the universe. And we put out a vibe of consciousness as we get ourselves wonderfully buzzed and spread the word of love.
And there were people trying to stop me from coming here because of that reason. And I said, no, the herb is from your mama. Sacred. She's sacred and she heals us. And we learn a lot from her. And I want to put it out that when we say herb is a healer, like for cancer and for people that have AIDS and all the different things, it's not so much always that the herb heals us, it's that when our mind expands, we can heal ourselves. And it's all within ourselves. So here's a chant that came through one time on a river, and I'm going to sing it for you.
Everybody, and close this little opening. I would like to, since I'm put in this platform of sharing ceremony and music, etc., sometimes don't get to share my heart. And I guess I do share my heart in other ways, but I just want to say that I just got in from Bali. And in Bali, which is the most beautiful island I've found on this planet, and I've been traveling for over 25 years, if you're caught with a roach, you spend 5 years in jail. 3 to 5. In places like Malaysia, you hang, sister. So there's some serious work for us to be doing. I mean, you don't even know how important the work is, because it ripples. When you do it here, it affects the whole world, you know? Slowly but surely. Of course, Amsterdam is about, what, 2 or 3 decades ahead of the rest of the world? But it's a serious matter. And for all our brothers and sisters that are in jail right now for just like, you know, partaking of the sacred herb, I would like to send them out a blessing and a prayer. And for our work, which is our play and our duty, our dharma, our divine pleasure, I'd like to also take a moment of silence for that to be blessed by the Spirit, by Love Supreme. So let's take a moment silent, and then we'll do the universal peace prayer and continue with the circle. This one is for our work our Dharma, that it goes far and wide, and for all those who are behind bars for just smoking the word. Now here, let's end with the universal peace prayer. I don't know if I could do it. Can you help me out with my holding the microphone myself out? Yeah. This is.
Let's shake our bodies a little bit. Can you just stretch out and move a little bit? Because I know you've been here for a while. Yeah. Take it. Move a little bit. There we go. Yes. The body temple loves it. Oh, that's important.
Yes, we're more awake, more alive, and more conscious. Our backs being as straight as possible helps for the Kundalini, serpent power, to come through, and our minds be fed from the middle of the earth to the bottom of our spine up to the top crown chakra. So keeping our back straight is also very good. Here's the prayer, and it's a very simple thing, and I want you all to join me. It goes like this. We offer you peace. So repeat it with the mudra, please.
We offer you peace.
Let's try that again. We offer you peace.
We offer you peace.
We offer you love.
We offer you love.
We offer you friendship.
We offer you friendship.
We hear your needs.
We hear your needs.
We see your beauty.
We see your beauty.
We feel your feelings.
We feel your feelings.
Our wisdom comes from a higher source. I salute that source within you. Let us work together.
Let us work together.
We're going to do this all together one more time with words and then in silence. Please join us. We offer you peace.
We offer you peace.
We offer you love.
We offer you love.
We offer you friendship.
We offer you friendship.
We hear your needs.
We hear your needs.
We see your beauty.
We see your beauty.
We feel your feelings.
We feel your feelings.
Our wisdom comes from a higher source.
Our wisdom comes from a higher source.
I salute that source within you. Let us work together.
Let us work together.
One more time in silence.
Okay, folks, we're going to have an open mic here for as long as people may have a statement to make or may have a question to ask.
One of the things I've been involved in recently is the Compassionate Use Act in California. And all of you are the kind of people that we're working with in California. And there's a lot of people out there that aren't afraid of what's happening. These people understand their rights and their freedoms and their religious beliefs, and they're empowering themselves, and they're going up to that beast, and they're grabbing that beast by the balls and pulling it down to its knees. And it's working. It's working. We're building unity, we're focusing, and we're getting more professional in our presentations and our tactics. And we're being strung together in this whole strength, this whole power, this unity driven by love and compassion and empowered by truth is just something that can't be stopped. And when we look at things that are happening around the world with the medical associations that are all just very clearly telling everybody openly that marijuana not only is not bad for us, but it could actually be healthy for us. Maybe a THC deficiency is a real thing. Maybe there should be a recommended daily allowance. I'd like to thank everybody for coming here and doing your work and building this power and this strength for helping us make this a reality, because we're not far from the truth. And put our power and hopes and dreams into what's going on in Vancouver, British Columbia. And the acting Sarah making things happen.
By the way, February is a special British Columbia issue, so look for that January 1st on your newsstands, folks. British Columbia issue. Yeah, by all means.
It's also about the Cannabis Buyers Club, which is in San Francisco. It's medical marijuana.
Cannabis cowards.
Anyway, what we really need right now, if anybody here, which I'm sure a lot of people here, because I've talked to you guys, they're from California, or at least the West Coast. We need signatures for our West Coast initiative. It's mainly California right now, but we're trying to get different people together on the West Coast and all of the United States to form Cannabis Buyers Club co-ops and similar organizations to help out AIDS patients and cancer patients, glaucoma patients, and arthritis patients across the United States. It really does help. It helps with building back up their appetite. It has helped many of my friends actually stay alive longer, a couple of years, because it keeps them healthy. They can keep food down. They get their health back. For glaucoma patients, some of the benefits are they keep their eyesight. There's many different medical uses, and I want you guys to explore them and maybe advocate them in the United States. Good. Okay, the Cannabis Buyers Club just moved to a 5-story building in the industrial district or downtown district of San Francisco.
1444
Market Street. Van Esten Market. It's called the Brownie Mary Compassionate Youth Center, named after Brownie Mary. If you have any questions, you can mail them a letter. You can get petitions, collect signatures. We need 600,000 signatures to put it on the ballot for 1996.
All right. My name's Darren. I'm from British Columbia, Canada. And, pretty much the laws in Canada are the same as the United States. And we did a thing up there called the Cannabis Connection. And what we were doing was selling pot above board right on the street at Hampton Sea. People are probably familiar with that. And I showed my card nationally on CBC News. And after that, there was just hundreds of calls from people in banks and other organizations that couldn't get cannabis anywhere else. And it turns out that my friend got caught with a bunch of cards, and we had to shut it down, but we did what we could. In Vancouver recently, we just had a thing called Medical Marijuana Day. All right. What we did is we all gathered at Vancouver General Hospital and marched down to City Hall, and we had some guest speakers and some food and stuff. And we were like, we have the video from San Francisco Buyers Club. And it's really amazing that the United States and Canadian governments worldwide can really say to medical patients, basically, you can't have your medicine. And that's just, we got to seriously do something about that. And cannabis for everything in general, it's just really sad that people can, like even your friends, you know, people who say, you know, you smoke marijuana or you smoke products, you know, they give you the snub, you know, you don't need those people. Just keep preaching amongst the people that have open minds and really care what the hemp marijuana plant can do, because it is spiritual, you know, like it brings your consciousness up to where you can see what God makes doing. You know, you can see how they're trashing our beautiful earth, and it's really like emotional for me, right? So, but I just thought I'd like to tell a little bit what was going on about Canada, and trying to hold a cannabis referendum there. We get that. Probably hundreds of thousands of signatures. So anyone you know in BC, spread the word.
Really nice ritualistic business was, because I'm definitely down with ritualistic use on a personal level, but this seemed a little bit off kilter for a lot of things that people
Hey, we can legalize anywhere in this world, okay?
There you go.
It's really gratifying to be here in Amsterdam, somewhere where it's free. We're working very hard there to try to achieve that in America. Really interesting to see the contrast of ideas and ways of thinking from different places in the world. I've never been out of the country, and to be here in Amsterdam is really thrilling. It's really great to see that it's possible and it works somewhere in the world. So we're going to be going home and working hard for this. And I want to say about medical marijuana, I'm all for that. Medical marijuana, let's get that pushed, but let's not leave recreational smoking out, okay?
All right.
I know a lot of hip activists say, well, let's put the recreational stuff aside, but no, I think that's kind of dangerous. Try to fit it into the message somehow and say, hey, we're so uptight about people getting stoned that we won't allow desperately ill, even dying people to use medical marijuana. We need to really rethink that. The whole paradigm, the whole thing, we're thinking about this drug war mentality where we're so strict. But don't leave that out, recreational use. Try to get your foot in the door about that. Thank you for listening, and hey, let's go home and legalize this stuff, man. It can't stay illegal around the world forever.
I think I heard you in the milk bag down there. So. That's your job. That's enough. All right.
Hi, we're all high. I want to give thanks to High Times for putting the show on. I want to give thanks to Amsterdam for being cool.
And Jim Morrison.
Co-judges. I want to give y'all a poem that I wrote when I was in the business, but I'm not anymore. It seems I've been confused in the pathway I've been choosing with the drugs that I've been using. I don't know what it is that keeps me in the biz. The answer to my quiz, they make me feel fine, the hashish, pipe, and wine. But I might have missed a sign back there upon the road, some ancient debt still owed for some illegal load. It could be just a doubt, a kink I will work out. It's nothing I need shout, but the tingle of cocaine when racing through my brain does not erase the pain. The gentle smoke of weed fill me with what I need from worry to be free. And when it is I'm boozing, I find that I am losing my capacity for choosing just what is best to do. You'd think I'd find a clue. The question's hardly new. Live for here and now. Love it all somehow. Enjoy it, take a bow. Or moderate in age till I'm a glad old sage who's lived out all his rage. This question I debate plays hell with any faith I've had on mine of late. Still cannot decide. Enough of them I've tried. Some people think I'm fried, but all those I admire are trying to get higher on sex or drugs or fire, away from earthly blues, so they can hear the news at altitudes they choose. To proclaim a decision, I might as well go fishing. If answers I am wishing, so here's to the debate. Puts food upon your plate. Never is too late to find a path to run. Remember to have fun. You'll know when it is done.
In Montreal, I just want to invite any Canadian hipsters, whether they're mercantile or whether they just want to see the plant go somewhere. We're having a meeting, Lucky Mothers, tomorrow morning.
Okay. Stand up.
Hi, I'm Ron from Ontario, Canada. I ain't no speech thing. No. In a dangerous world, it really makes me feel hopeful to see so many good people around this city this time of year, every year. It goes way beyond here. And I don't know, I've been waiting to nominate all day, so I'm nominating, is it okay? I'm nominating Niagara for Best Buzz overall.
I'd just like to address the brother because he asked about the hocus pocus. Well, I'm not into the hocus pocus business, really. I'm just into the good vibes, you know? I do happen to have a little bit of connection with the Rasta community and the Sadhu community, and have learned a whole lot from them. And so bringing that into the platform, the more stuff that we have to use to bring us to be more centered and be more conscious and be aware, the better we can do our work. That's what it's all about. And I really am so happy that so many people are out here to get on with it. Not only sit on their butts, but you know, get up and do something to change the world. Keep it up, brothers and sisters.
Great relatives of our favorite plant. I'd just like to offer you an image that you may find useful for those who are willing to take it. Just kind of let yourself be inside and imagine yourself as you sit there as co-living with a great tree. The rough trunk, but the roots and the light gathering the energy from that great source outside and passing through you and the tree down into the world. The leaves giving breath and the fruit giving nourishment to all the world through you and that plant.
Is that one time I was at a party, and I asked the host if I could smoke a joint. She said, go right ahead, go for it. So I did, and about 7 people gathered around me, all smoking, and you know, people asked me who I was, and I started giving out the hemp wrap and started talking about legalization, how ridiculous it is. And so one woman was there puffing on the joint, looking at me. And she says, how come you know so much? And so I said, I'm the new cultivation leader for High Times. He said, wow, man, it's like the High Time, it's like the mafia coming out for organized crime. And I said to her, I said, you lose the joint. I said, please, you're excused from our circle. Be careful of who you're smoking with. There are a lot of people out there who want you to slip them a fucking bud, or want to catch a buzz off your joint. Who don't give one goddamn shit about legalization. Who don't care whether people go to jail, who lose their eyesight, or who die. They don't. If we're going to share this herb, let's make sure that the people we're smoking with, are aware of what this herb can do and what it means. There's nothing to all of you coming so much. It's been a long 420, and a lot of people had a lot of nice things to say. Thank you so much, and we'll see you over the milk bake tonight for the opening ceremony.
Check, 1, 2, 2. Okay, sounds good. Can you see me? And you can hear me? Okay, makeup room. It's about to get really crazy, but we figured we'd come here and talk to a few people while it isn't so nuts. Anyway, right here we're doing Jiva. Doesn't she look gorgeous? How you doing today, Jiva?
I'm doing great.
How you feeling? I mean, now you're going to be Mother Earth?
I'm going to be Mother Earth on Sunday night.
What's your role tonight?
Tonight I am the keeper of the flame.
The keeper of the flame, wow.
Right, I keep things hot.
I'll say she'll be keeping things hot.
That's right.
No, but just take a look at this garb. It's just gorgeous. Gotta show that. Beautiful. Who's ever doing the costumes? That lady, I know who's doing the costumes. We're going to go talk to her because she's really doing a beautiful job. Okay, and then we have Amy doing the makeup. How's it going, Amy?
Yeah, crazy. Everyone's showing up at once.
And there's going to be more later.
Oh, no, of course, yeah.
Now we have our other makeup artist is Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. Why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hi, how you doing?
She's really busy. She's painting, just painting everybody, and soon she's going to have all the people here at one time, and she's going to paint everybody. First, she's going to paint them all black. And she's going to paint them all white. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to come back for that later. Now, tell us, what's your role tonight in this show?
Tonight, I'm a veil dancer, and I'm in the procession. Oh. I'm a dancer.
What's your name again?
Aida. Aida.
And are you excited about tonight?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part that you're doing?
In the whole weekend?
No,
just tonight. Tonight, my favorite part is the veil dance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this the costume you're wearing for the veil dance?
No, it's not. This is what I'm wearing for the procession.
Procession.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe how stunning? We're getting that costume lady in here to talk. Anyway, you know, all the faith is going to be just a great show. We're going to get you all going out in just a little while. Okay, see you. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Habib.
And what are you doing tonight in the show?
I'm dancing.
Well, what part of the line and what kind of dance are you doing?
It's called the Shiva Parvati routine thing. I'm a veil dancer.
That is a beautiful headpiece. Can we get a close up?
I made it.
Did you?
Yep.
Where did you find those? This brass? That's really cool.
Metal, I found it in the bargain bucket at a bead store in Seattle. Yes.
Take a shot of this costume.
Hi.
Are you nervous?
No.
No, you don't seem nervous. You
No.
seem like you're ready to have a lot.
And I'm not stoned either.
Oh, are you going to be later?
Later? Probably just from being in the room.
Yeah, that's true.
What's your name?
Beth. I'm Beth, and I wish you the best of luck tonight. Yeah, we're doing this video for High Times, and I have a television show called F Sharp. And do you play any instruments?
I do.
What instruments do you play?
Mandolin, guitar, mandola, doumbek, zills, various Egyptian wind instruments.
And what drew you, what brought your interest into those kinds of instruments?
What brought my interest to it? I'm a belly dancer.
So you started belly dancing and then got into the instruments?
Yes.
Or was it the other way around?
I played guitar first, and then I started, when I got into the Egyptian music and the Middle Eastern music, then I wanted to play it too. So.
Oh, that's really cool because we just feature musicians, people that play different kinds of instruments. You going to be playing any of those tonight?
No. I'm just.
How about in the closing ceremonies?
No, but in the party afterwards, I will be jamming.
All right, we'll be there later. Thank you. Good seeing you. Bye. Hey, where's...
It got dark, went through the night, then the sun began to come up, and she was beginning to get discouraged. Although I could see she had a lot of strength left. She was beginning to be on the verge of tears. And just at that time, a knock came on the side of the bus, and the smiling face is there, and Mary Louise is saying, "Hi, has Sheila told you about her mom yet?" Again, as soon as she said that, all the hair stood up in my arms and the back of my neck. I thought, what's that? So we let her come in. We invited Mary Louise in, hugged the woman in labor. And it turned out that the woman in labor was adopted, had been adopted, and had carried along a fear since she was a little young child that her mother must have died in childbirth. That was the reason that she thought she had been adopted. So of course she was afraid that she was dying. And all she needed to know was that she wasn't. And she felt much better. And she described it later that the woman that had come in and held on to her actually became her body and did the labor for her. And she was transported into some, beautiful heavenly place, with green fields and blue skies. And she had a mystical, transcendent type of experience. And we had among us the kind of birth that makes everybody there care very much about that child and about each other. So every time we had a birth like that, we were building bonds between people. And in the United States especially, that's very important because we're raised in such an individualistic culture that to counteract that, it's very important that people learn how to be together in the most elemental ways. And that's why I'm convinced that we have to tremendously expand the Corps of Midwives in the United States so that we have way more midwives than we have obstetricians. Now we have a reverse situation. We have way too many obstetricians and very few midwives. So as you can see, we have a very hard task because the obstetricians obviously want to keep doing their profession and they're very well paid, although they're beginning to lose their money advantage somewhat. And there's a lot of fighting going on amongst the different professions in the U.S. Who's going to get the births? Is it going to be the obstetricians or is it going to be the general practitioners? Is it going to be another group called physician's assistants? Present, we've had no training to do it, but it's quite possible that a large section of births would be handed over to physician's assistants. Or would it be midwives, where midwives have, we have the effects of decades of negative propaganda made against us to contend with in the United States. So it's possible to be a licensed midwife working within the confines of the law and still to go to jail and be handcuffed to the wall in the United States if you're a midwife. Is that hard to believe? That's the truth. So it's interesting for me to be here at this conference where there's two very healing things that I do, and they're both illegal. I sometimes go, which one has priority? But let me tell you one other thing. As starting this work as a midwife, from what you would technically have to say is being an amateur. I mean, how much more of an amateur could you be that if you enter a profession to help with something that you've never seen happen before, okay? Never seen a photograph, you've never seen a film of it, and you've almost been able to read nothing because the knowledge is kept secret, okay? But it happens to a woman's body. And then I began doing this, and I trained some friends to help me do this. And we do this for some years. But right from the beginning, we've had a C-section rate that's never been more than 2%. It's about 1.8%. We needed to have the first cesarean section birth 187. That means 186 babies came out with amateurs in attendance. But, you know, responsible amateurs who got training just in time. That's how it worked for us. This doctor gave training just in time. Stephen came in and resuscitated Ann just in time. My partner, Pamela, we used to share the obstetrics handbook between us. She would take it for 2 weeks and I would take it for 2 weeks. During her 2 weeks, we didn't just start at the beginning and read through because we didn't really care what the name, all the Latin names of the bones were. We wanted to know what to do when. So she opened the book and found out what you do when the uterus comes inside out and is inverted after the placenta is born. She found what to do. 1 week after reading that, it did happen, and she did have to take care of it. And the woman was very well taken care of, never had to go to the hospital. What could have been life-threatening was handled very quickly and well just by having the training. That means one woman might have as many as 15 or 20 or more babies. And all of these babies will be born at home. The boys will grow up and they'll be farmers, or they'll be carpenters, or they'll be harness makers, or they'll be buggy makers, or you'll have a blacksmith or two. And the women will have children, and the women will look after the children. They will make the clothes. They will do a certain amount of the food production. Amish are very hardworking people, and in many ways they were like us, except that we wanted to limit the number of births we had. But they have a knowledge like we do that we can give birth. And so the women who are Amish and the women who live at the farm had an ability to give birth, whereas other American women have been losing the ability to give birth. Losing the knowledge that they can give birth, losing the motivation to even want to give birth and be conscious of what's going on. Yes. To the extent that these were the principal targets, as what we can find out in Western Europe. But it seemed to be more a matter of property transfer. There's a number of different theories about why it happened in North America, but it's the same. It was the same time frame and kind of the same vibe, I think. I think it had a lot to do with it myself, because I think what it did was it lowered the status of midwives relative to the medical profession in everywhere except the Netherlands. And basically, doctors took over being who decided about childbirth. And that went out of the midwife's hands, and it went out of the community's hands. And so it was only remains in community hands in the parts of the world that aren't industrialized, where village life goes on and tribal life goes on like it always did. Or even with disruptions where the women's culture is not so fractured that it can't find itself in a refugee camp and then move on as the people move on, but the women still know how to give birth. But when you have a situation like in the United States now, or a situation like you have in Jamaica. Jamaica is another good example of a country that had well-developed midwifery that followed through generation after generation. That was part of people's life and culture, part of what young women grew up knowing. And that was absolutely taken apart just within the last 30 years to where now Jamaicans assume they will give birth in the hospital. Have to give birth in the hospital. Not anything else is unthinkable. But then what happens when you're in the hospital? In a large percentage of the cases, no one is with you. No one. Not a midwife. There's no IV. There's no all of this stuff that you would be presumably be in the hospital for. You actually have a birth that is unattended, and then there's no mother there, there's no sister, there's no husband there. And so the woman gives birth, is more apt to give birth terrified, baby to need help, lose babies sometimes from doing that, because the hospitals become a symbol of care, but actually what she's getting is the opposite of care. And this is happening a lot in the U.S. that you get the symbol, and you got the marketing is there, but nothing else there, and then you feel screwed, but you are so busy trying to take care of your new baby and pick yourself up that you aren't, it's hard for you to get to start a political movement yourself.